tour.
Welcome to another tutorial by miniGIRL with hobbyhottips.com. I'm going to show you how to put wood on your bases. No construction needed. In fact, you're not even going to need a saw. You won't even need a hammer or nails. You won't even need a tape measure. In fact, all you're going to need is a dollhouse wooden floor. Aww. Now let's go show those bases who's boss. So I went to my local dollhouse store and I got the smallest scale flooring that they had for dollhouses. I measured my base and drew on the back of the flooring and then cut out the correct size to my base and just put some white glue on and glued it down. On an extra little piece, I put different washes to see what it would look like, and I chose the one that I liked best, which was the black one. And I just outlined the wood, and then I got the brown wash. And I'm going to give it kind of like a worn look to the base. Now I'm putting the nails, and I just dipped a toothpick into the umber or any dark brown would do, and I'm giving it faux nails. Now I'm going to be doing even a darker wash just on the edges to kind of look like it has water damage to it. Just as a side note, the flooring cost me about $10 US, but I know that you can find it online as well. I then took this base and got some scissors and just kind of clipped the edges to give it that worn look, and this is how it turned out. It's just a very simple, very easy, quick method. Now this one I just left plain to show you what it looked like. I just put a clear varnish coat on it and did a little bit of dry brushing in the middle. This next one I attacked with scissors and my hobby knife. I did a lot of scoring and cutting on the edges, as you can see. I sanded it and then I put a nice dark wash shade on it to bring out the scoring, the scar marks on it. Now I'm going to dry brush it with khaki color because I want it to look like it's maybe the deck of a boat and it's been sitting out in the sun. It has a lot of wear and tear on it, just to give it that really worn, ruined look. As an extra touch, I visited the jewelry section at the craft store and got some cording, and I'm going to make some rope. So I just got a little piece, super glued it together so it would stay, and then I mixed these two shades together to give it sort of like a rustic look, and that's going to be the rope that's going to set on the deck, quote unquote, of my little base. I'm going to use one of these to make a cannonball. I covered it with liquid green stuff, and that stuff's kind of difficult to work with, but I got through it okay, especially because it's a ball bearing, so it's difficult to stick. And then right after I painted it with a darker shade. I ended up moving the cannonball in front of them just because it looked cluttered when it was in the back. This is the final result. This base ended up being my favorite one. I love how it turned out. But if you don't want to ruin the flooring, you can try this 3D method. You can get some green stuff, put it on your base, and stamp it onto the wood. The only problem with that is that it leaves a negative imprint. So it doesn't really have lines going into it. As you can see, when I go to put a wash on it or shading, it just sets on top of it. It wasn't really pretty. I didn't like how it turned out, and this was the final result. It just, I don't know, the lines are sticking upward. It just doesn't look right. So I tried doing instant mold, and this was the result. I thought, okay, this is going to be the way to go. So I got my base with green stuff, but the imprint in the instant mold didn't really give deep impressions like I thought it was going to. So this was the result of that. Kind of flat, very boring. I just put a simple shade and that was it. So then I got some green stuff and I glued it to a wood block and went ahead and made my impression, and then I let it cure for about 2 hours. You can also use Milliput or another brand called epoxy, spelled with an A, and those work really good too. You can also use like a Tupperware cap if you don't have a wood block lying around. So then I got some green stuff and just glued it to my base, and I didn't bother smoothing it out too much because I'm going to give this a rustic look. So then I put some Vaseline onto my stamp and found part of the stamp that I liked and went ahead and stuck it to my base. I then got that toothpick and wanted to make nail holes into the wood planks, while making sure the toothpick was straight up and down so the holes were nice and even. I wanted more planks, so I took the back side of my hobby knife and made a couple more planks and also added some more nail holes. After I let the green stuff set for about 2 hours, I washed it with soap and water to get all the Vaseline and any oils from my fingers off of the green stuff. Here I'm adding some glue and I'm going to sand the edges where I was kind of sloppy with my green stuff, but I intended to do that because I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to give it a rustic look. Green stuff has the tendency to absorb paint, so it might look like I'm globbing it on, but in actuality the paint is thinned down, and it's just the green stuff is, it can be kind of interesting to work with. You have to put on a coat, let it absorb, put on another coat, and sometimes even a third coat. Then once I went ahead and put on a couple coats of my paint, I put on a nice wash, a really dark wash. And this I love because then you can really see the wood grain come out, whereas the Instamold stamp that I did, it didn't really do that. So this one was nice. I love how it turned out. I decided to add some nails for the nail holes that I made earlier, and so I rated my stash of jewelry findings. You can find it in the jewelry section at your craft store. It comes in all different colors. They're actually earring posts, and I just trimmed them down, super glued them in, just a few of them. I wanted some to look like they're missing, and now I'm dry brushing with a nice khaki color, again to give it that worn-in look. So I hope you enjoyed that wood tutorial, and I'll see you at the next tutorial real soon, guys. Bye!